around town, I hope that has extra significance for you. But the organizations that I work with, they're doing amazing stuff on the ground. And I would love to be able to take more than 5 minutes to share it with you, but hopefully you've been able to learn about some of it this weekend. But they do something amazing. You know, they build the safe spaces that support us in our complexity, right? As people of color, as immigrants, as queer folks, as transgender people, you know, and we understand why some of us eat rice for breakfast. And Incapia's work is to build their capacity to network for them, because often they find themselves, they feel like they're isolated. They're the only organization in the world. But we build their capacity, and at the same time, you know, we try to move them towards a politic of liberation. You know, because often, you know, that's not where they're at right now. You know, they build community, and we work with them to build a team. Right? Sharing the stories that we learn, that we get to learn in places like this, right? Because, you know, because for our folks who are not here, it's important. So that's the work that we do. And I wanted to say also that one of the unique ways racism affects our community is that we're often the people of color that don't get to be people of color. In this room, we trust that you understand that we're people of color, right? Like it's, you know, we're here. But, you know, you leave this room, you leave this space, and we have to explain why we're people of color. Like we buy into, or we chafe against the model minority myth. Oh, you Asians, y'all are doing all right. You know, you're getting math, like, you know, you're doing well in school, you got some money. You know, and so it means that we're the last in priority when resources get doled out for communities of color, right? You know, when San Francisco's budget was on the line for HIV resources, you know, and they threatened to cut the Asian Pacific Islander community because their numbers don't matter, right? That's the story that we have to tell, and that's the solidarity that we trust that everyone in this room will have with us, so that it's not just us who has to tell our story, right? So, so I just wanted to name that, because, you know, we can name it here, and we're trusting that you will help us name it out there. And so finally, I just wanted to close, because you know, our comments here are really intended to just frame the discussion that we are all going to have together. You know, we're going to talk for just a little bit, but you all are going to be talking because we all are going to be moving together. And I just wanted to close by just offering a couple of ways that I'm excited that I think we're going to be able to have national impact, and some of the things that that Incapia is trying to do right now. I mean, one of the things is our membership in the Roots Coalition, right? I know that it's been talked about, you know, the Roots Coalition as a collective of organizations that are queer and trans, that are people of color led, and that are doing some of the fabulous work, you know, in Arkansas, in San Francisco, in New York. And so we are so proud to be part of that coalition. Pauline is also going to say a little something about it. But to be able to really move as part of a progressive organization that's people of color led, that's going to have the intersectional analysis to affect the policy debates that happen. Because Incapia is one of the few national people of color LGBT organizations that's based in Washington, D.C. And I think we are trying to kind of hold that space also. You know, so, you know, we talk about the HRCs of the world, right? We talk about the gay angst of the world. And, you know, we complain about them, and we have to engage them, right? Like Mandy said, it's an and. So, so we're here, you know, but tomorrow I'll be in Washington, D.C. trying to figure out whatever other bullshit is going to come to my door. But that's what's exciting, you know, to not just be part of the decision-making process, but to transform the table. You know, like, you know, we say, oh, we're just honored to be here, to get a seat at the table. Screw the table. Like, get some more seats, move it so that we can all get a picture together. You know, that's what we're talking about. And I'll just close with a quick thing. for the first time ever in Washington, D.C., locally based groups of people, queer people of color, had an event at DC Pride for the first time ever. And so we're like, 70 people packed this really small room because they were thirsty for that conversation. You know, DC is 60% African American, the Asian community is relatively new, the Latino population is facing some deep stuff, but we never really talk to each other. You know, but to be in that space, you know, the conversation is moving forward. There's a lot of violence against transgender folks in DC, people of color. In August, the South Asian community lost one of its members. And so, you know, we had a forum on violence in our communities. And so that's the conversation that's happening. I see it happening more and more, increasingly around the country. Here, the stories you're telling are great, and they're intentional. You know, and so that's, to me, what's exciting. And as we go into our conversations that Cole's going to facilitate, I'm really looking forward to